Welcome back to MX-5 Info. It is finally time for part 3 of this series where I install air conditioning on the NB2. In this episode I will cover everything that needs to go into the interior from an AC perspective. I disassembled the evaporator in order to replace all of the O-rings, but there's one O-ring that I cannot find locally. That's this 11.5 by 2.4. The other two are part of the box that I purchased. So we have the 14 by 2.5 and the 7 by 2. So only this size in the middle, this one, I couldn't get my hands on. So I checked with the local air conditioning specialist here that will later on also test and fill or recharge the system. And he said, well, it's okay to reuse it because it's still in good shape. So that's what we'll do. So the valve can go back on, and then these lines can go back on as well. Seated. And then I can use these bolts to reassemble that part. And that should be it for this evaporator, now with 3 out of 4 O-rings replaced. The evaporator can now go back into its housing, the housing of the cooling unit. Make sure to place a temperature sensor, and when you put the other part of the housing on, make sure not to pinch this wire. So there's a small opening here on the side to let the wire go through. If you have the opportunity, go ahead and assemble the system to test if it can hold a vacuum. If it doesn't pass the test, you need to figure out where the system is leaking. The focus of the video will be on the parts that go into the interior, like this cooling unit with the evaporator inside. It also needs this seal plate, air duct, some fasteners, 2 grommets for the firewall, the AC switch and a drain hose. But before I can install these, I first have to remove some parts from the interior to make room for these. Your first step should be to disconnect the battery, and then we can start working on the car, meaning we need to start with removing the glove box. In order to do so, we can open it, push it in from both sides while pulling it forward, then it will drop, and then it will come loose on the right side on the hinge here, and on the other side you have this thing that's plugged into the rest of the dashboard. This is some electrical wire, I'll put that to the side. Then we need to remove the stay, the understay, to get more room and access to this area next to the blower unit. So these are 3 screws at the bottom. Let me find them. One more. Now that that is out of the way, we can see the module for the keyless entry. So we can release a 6mm nut at the top to make room, and then we can take out the air duct behind it. The black air duct you see in the back is held in place by 2 clips, so it's in between the blower unit and the heater unit over there. So one of the clips is right at the top of this duct, and it looks like this. Hope you can see this. And the other one is here at the front. We can pull that out as well, and then we can pull it out, maybe from the blower unit first. and then we no longer need this duct because that's where the cooler unit will be. Here you can see a gray connector hiding in between the dashboard and the heater housing. That is the connector that needs to go into the thermal switch on the cooling unit. It's held in place by some blue tape, but if we pull that off, then we can get the gray connector out. And there it is, ready to be used on the cooling unit. I pulled back the carpet in the passenger footwell to show you that here on the left hand side we have a small rubber grommet. We need to take that one out in order to make room for the drain hose from the cooling unit to the tunnel, to get rid of the condensation water. And then at the top there's a cutout in the padding material. You need to remove that part as well, because there are two grommets behind it. Those grommets need to be taken out as well. They will be replaced. First, the lines from the evaporator will go through the firewall, and then from the other side we can install the grommets, the new grommets that go with the air conditioning system. Where the black air duct was connected to the heater housing, we will now be using this part, this air duct, and it will go on like this. You just slide it into place against the heater unit, and then there's one screw that should go in here at the top. Those are the two grommets in the engine bay that have to come out. Not sure if I can pull them out on this side or that I will be pushing them out from the other side, but those will have to come out. When properly installed, the drain hose should be like this, so the opening pointing towards you, because it needs to connect to the cooler unit from the back. Before installing the cooling unit, I will place a seal plate on the side of it, and I can close it for now so it doesn't fall off. And then we need to prepare for the installation and get it into this tight space. My recommendation is to remove this screw and this wire that controls the temperature. So when I try to peel this off, I will push there and then get the cable towards me, stick it out of the way. Then I can use a screwdriver to get this out. And the reason why it will help us is because we can get this part of the bracket out of the way and push it to the side, because we will need that space. Let me try to get that cooling unit in. So my strategy is to start low and diagonally, then make sure it can pass these cables and wires, still upward at the end. Yeah? And then I will be rotating it slightly to make this piece come down underneath the duct. So I need to get it level. Yeah? Then I can start pointing the lines through the firewall and moving it upwards. There we go. Now I need to connect the 6mm nuts, and then I can line up the seal plate over here, and that should be it. The cooling unit is now where it should be. I have installed the sealing plate over here. It's now overlapping the gap between the cooling unit and the blower unit. On the other side, I have reinstalled this mechanism over here, so I can check that by verifying if I can set the temperature from hot to cold, the complete range, which works. And this is also a good time to remember that we still have this gray connector that should go into the thermal switch. We can already do that. And then we can think about reinstalling the parts that we took off earlier, like this module for the keyless entry and the glove box and the understay of the glove box. Now we can move on to the installation of the AC switch. And I'm using my prying tool here to get this fake switch out. And with it comes the harness with the connector. I can then unplug that fake part and place the correct switch on there. It needs to go with the round part at the top, and then we can slide it back in. Should go all the way in, exactly like that. That's it. The glove box is now back in place, and I also connected the drain hose at the back of the cooling unit. Don't forget that, otherwise you will end up with wet carpet in the passenger footwell. The original grommets could easily be pushed out from the inside towards the engine bay and are now replaced by the grommets that are intended for these AC lines. And that's it for this video, but don't worry, there will be 3 more episodes in this series to cover the complete installation process. As always, if you have any questions or remarks, please leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching MX-5 Info, and until next time.